All right, viewers, thank you for staying tuned. And this is the part of the edition where we'll discuss about today's topic. Now, we'll be looking at the relationship between landlords and tenants, which is a complex one, often characterized by delicate balance of rights and responsibilities. Landlords have the right to receive rent and maintain their property, while tenants have the right to peacefully enjoy their leased premises. However, this right can sometimes conflict, leading to legal disputes. We will delve into these issues such as rent payment, property maintenance, security deposit, and tenant evictions. By understanding these rights, landlords and tenants can work together to establish a harmonious and mutually beneficial living arrangement. Once again, I'm your anchor, ADESEWA ORIOYE, and I still have my co-anchor with me.
Promise NJOKU-ADIBE.
And still with us in the studio is Barrister Chimes, as we fondly call him, who's a legal practitioner. Well, thank you for staying with us all through.
Thank you.
And I think this is the floor is open for discussion of the legal rights of landlords and tenants in Nigeria.
Oh, thank you, Shewa. And that's true, viewers. Feel free to call in. Don't forget. If you're not a landlord in Nigeria, you're a tenant. You must be one. You can't be two. You must be one. So.
Oh, you're living with a tenant.
Oh yes, yeah, truly. Okay, so
it must affect you.
Somehow it must affect you. So feel free to call in. The number to call in is showing on your screen, or you can send us your comments via any of our social media platforms also showing on your screen. Remember, you can ask any questions, share your experiences with us. We have a legal practitioner. He's not charge and bail lawyer. Now lawyer we go school, we know wait a papa beat in chair say I pay school fees. So he will answer your questions. So Barrister Chimes, let me come to you now. You know, everybody in a landlord, even caretakers na landlords, even agents na landlord. So now looking at our constitution in this country, can you now briefly, because time is not really friendly, so we'll rush. Okay. So can you now briefly tell us who is a landlord and who is a tenant, going by our constitution the right way?
A landlord is the owner of a house.
The legal owner, the rightful owner. Okay.
An agent is not a landlord.
Okay.
What's that?
Caretaker.
Caretaker is not a landlord.
Okay.
An attorney is not a landlord.
Okay.
All these may act on behalf of
the
landlord.
Okay.
But the landlord is a true owner who has legal title to the property.
Okay. Okay.
A person who has a legal title to a property.
Okay.
So the person may give a power of attorney to a tenant, a caretaker, an attorney, or an agent. Okay, please, for the sake of this property, you handle the rent and everything.
Okay.
That does not make that person a landlord. The person is only acting
on behalf
of the landlord.
Okay.
The landlord is, in the contemplation of the law, the legal person who holds a legal title to
is
the property.
Landlord.
Is a landlord. And a tenant is anybody who leases a property for any purpose, commercial, residential, private, business, whatever. Any person who leases a property is a tenant.
Okay, so now
let me also give it another dimension.
Okay.
A person who is employed, take for instance, employed in my office, I employ someone and I give the person an accommodation. That person is not a tenant.
It's not a tenant.
Yes.
So what's the person? A landlord?
The person is a licensee.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay. You are just there at my behest. Any day I wake up and say get out, you get out.
Oh, for real?
Yes, you are not a tenant. Are you paying rent? Now, what makes you a tenant is that there is a consideration being paid to the landlord.
Okay.
It is that consideration that makes you a tenant.
So if you're saying the house for free,
you're licensee. Any day I wake up, I say, pack your things and get out. I'm done.
And you can't take the person to court.
As what? Are you paying rent?
As per you should have given me notice. You can't just wake up and tell me to back out.
Licensee. A licensee in law is subject. You're not entitled to the statutory notices.
You actually don't have any right.
You don't. What is your right? Is that I should tell you, okay, by tomorrow, please, I'm giving this house to another person, another staff who is well behaved.
So does this cover also some professions that give accommodations?
As long as you are not paying rent, you're a licensee.
Well, okay.
A church staff is a licensee.
Who stays
in the church compound is a licensee.
Okay.
I can wake up and give you, please, by this time next week, I don't want to see you here. Of course.
Wow.
You're a licensee.
Oh, okay.
You're not a tenant. Now, what makes you a tenant is that you have paid a rent, what is called rent. What is rent? It is the value for living in a particular premises, the value for a particular property.
Okay.
For living there, for leasing it.
Okay.
You know, some people use the word lease, some use the word rent, whatever way. You are if you are paying rent, you are leasing a property for a specific period of time, say for 1 week, say for 2 days. That is why you go to a hotel. Then there are specifications. If you go to a hotel and pay unpaid hotel bill, you are not a tenant.
Okay.
You understand? You're not a tenant. That place is a business. You only come in, it's a hospitality business. You come in as a guest.
Okay.
And pay for a period of your stay
time.
as a guest. Now, if you are, take for instance, I rent a space here. Take for instance, you give me a part of the studio, so okay, be using it for recording of whatever you want to do, your legal issues, and I pay you rent. I become a tenant, and I'm entitled to all the rights and privileges provided for any tenancy law or any rent control, rent.
As long as you've paid rent.
As long as I've paid rent. But if I've not paid rent, you know, there are some people in FCT, they tell you, just occupy this house. They look after them for me. Like I travel, go Canada, come back. You are more or less a licensee.
Okay, so is it that it's not necessary for you to give me a eviction letter?
I don't need to give eviction letter now.
Just
Did I give, what letter did I give you when I told you to stay there?
Okay.
So I wake up and tell you, man, you're a licensee.
Move.
Shewa, I think that property, I want, my son is coming in from UK next week.
Really?
I need to give it to him.
But that one no good though. Imagine you don't get where you want to go.
So if you are staying in such a place, you know that any day, any time, anything can happen.
Oh, okay, so now let's talk about the legal rights of landlords and tenants. Yeah, briefly, can you just
Let me
glance.
start from that of a landlord.
Okay.
A landlord, as a landlord, your right is
1 minute, please. Viewers, do you have your paper and your pen there? You need to put this down, or as much as possible, make sure you save this clip because it's going to be very helpful.
Sincerely,
yes,
I'm already. I never knew anything like licensing.
You don't learn one today.
I don't learn one now. There's one question said like before you move to the next one, like this staff and employment. I want to understand it very well.
You're either a licensee or you're a tenant.
now. Take for instance, you are employed in this place,
And you said you will give me accommodation.
and I said in your appointment letter, this
uh-huh.
employment comes with
With
an
an
accommodation,
accommodation.
which can be recovered at any point.
Okay, so you will not give me. Let's say okay.
I don't need to give you. I will tell you, it is there. This appointment comes with what's it called now? This accommodation and a car. You go about and say your car owner.
It's official car.
It's official car. It's official house.
Oh, okay.
So the day I'm done with you, I recover my things without taking you to court.
Not giving me time to get my own.
I don't
also.
understand. Did I give you time when I gave you the car?
Okay.
Or the house?
Shewa.
So it's for me to tell you in 1 week time, please. At least I should be reasonable with it.
Yeah,
You
give you
okay,
time.
say in 1 week time, within the standard of a reasonable man, in 1 week time, please do for an accommodation. You never see where they sack person and say, please,
Within 24 hours.
return every office property.
Yeah.
And that office property includes your house. Your house is office property.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I've seen.
Wow.
Yes,
Okay, so
yes.
so you were saying something about
Yes.
legal rights of landlords and tenants.
One.
Briefly. Okay.
Is the right to collect rent. Let me start from there.
The landlord.
Yes, the landlord
Okay.
has a right to collect rent. As a
Okay.
landlord, if your rent is due, pay your landlord. He's also a human being. He used money to build that house.
Okay.
Then true, right to make certain improvements as need warrant.
Now where wahala dey
We go come there now.
for Nigerian
Calm down
landlord.
We dey come there.
Now, also right to enter and inspect. If he does not enter, how will he know what to renovate and what not to renovate?
Okay, we will also come to that one.
So right to give entrance to the landlord to, for inspection, and then right to allow the tenant to peaceful living of the premises. If you rent out a premises to me, allow me to enjoy it, peaceful enjoyment rather, right to peaceful enjoyment of the premises.
Okay.
At least let me stop at this 3.
Okay.
I don't know if it's 3 or 4 I've given now.
For the
Right to
landlord.
peaceful enjoyment for the landlord.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then right of a tenant. 1, right to keep the premises in a habitable
State.
state.
Okay.
That's 1. 2, right to pay all the necessary rates as may be required. 3, right to peaceful enjoyment of the demised property.
Okay.
All right. And then right not to be harassed with unnecessary notices.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Now, some of these rights may not be particularly enshrined, but from case laws, you can deduce these rights.
Okay.
What do I mean by case laws? There's a tenancy matter and they go to court, and then these are some of the areas. And then right not to resolve to self-help.
What do you mean by that?
Landlord, that's for the landlord now. You should not reserve, what's it called now, rely to self-help.
Landlord or tenant?
Landlord.
Okay.
Even the tenant.
Okay.
Okay, can
It's
you
both
explain?
ways.
Can you explain that?
Take for instance, my rent is due. My landlord comes in and breaks my door and starts throwing out my things. That is self-help.
Hey, that landlord will hear from me.
What are you saying? It happens now. It happens. Landlords
Okay,
do
yes.
it.
Yeah, very true.
Landlords do it. So, I think basically we'll stop it at these few points.
Okay. Now they've been a back and forth. I've seen videos where you see a tenant coming to the social media to rant that they rented an apartment, or she rented an apartment, he or she rented an apartment, renovated it, possibly touched it up to maybe ×3 of the rent, just to a luxurious taste, or let me say to the taste of he or she to live in, and only for the landlords to notice this, and after all being said and done, like, okay, I don't think I want to give you this house anymore, I'm going to look for your money and give you, and nothing is. And when you talk about the maintenance or the upgrading of the flat or the room, and other, it will be like, I did not, it's nowhere is written for you to do that. Like, that's none of my business. I don't want to give
All
you.
right, let's get this issue clear.
Okay.
You rent an apartment. What I will tell Nigerians, ensure they give you a tenancy agreement.
Okay.
This is one mistake most Nigerians do. You know, the desperation of looking for a house.
Yes.
There's one house in area 1. Pierre, agent, you know, the agents can put a lot of pressure.
Goodness.
You know it to transfer. And moving, every other thing will come. You saw those things where they come after you moving. They never came. They
Yes.
will never come.
Yes.
They will never. Oh, we'll put burglary. Even the landlord wants to put AC for all the flats. For where?
They want to repaint. They want to change the toilet.
Pay first.
Now,
Pay
get a
first.
tenancy agreement and have a proper agreement with the landlord. You read the terms of the tenancy agreement. If they are conducive to you, you go ahead and sign. And pay. If they are not, forget about it. So now, where there is no agreement as to renovation, I always tell people, be careful about that aspect.
Okay.
Where there is no specific agreement, because you may have paid for 1 year and viewed it into a luxurious taste. There was no agreement. Was there an agreement with the landlord? Even if there's another agreement, me, I like paper a lot. Put it in black and white, so that tomorrow
You tender it.
somebody came and had a good case, but I asked, is there any paper covering this thing? He said there was none. It took wisdom from God for me to find a way to get that man to put it on paper. I sent something to him, and then he responded, acknowledging. I said,
And then
"Oh,
that
to
was
God be
it.
the glory."
Ah, lawyers.
That was it.
Be very careful.
Be sure everything is in black and white. Because if the man didn't expressly put it in paper, go and you have the right to renovate after we balance.
Nah.
Or some of them will tell you, some tenants will. That's common mistakes tenants make. They will go and, I want to paint this place white and put POP. And put PVC.
Where
there
there's
was POP,
where there's PVC. Yes.
And then they tell the man say, no, I will refund you. You are wasting your time. At the end of the day, is there any paper? Is it part of your tenancy agreement to sign with the man? If it's not, you have just helped the man improve his property.
Okay, but then, even if it's not in the tenancy agreement, is it
have a separate paper where it is written.
What about maybe on WhatsApp message? Can those ones
On
count
WhatsApp,
in court?
So if somebody took my, yes, those
Can they count? Because now
yes,
you can
they count.
retrieve
they
something.
can count, but then, most times. So what did my WhatsApp?
Okay. Now, what if the landlord is outside the country and you relate just on phone?
That's
via
a
phone
different.
calls?
Put it in writing. What stops you? Send WhatsApp. You type on Microsoft and send to him, and he signs.
Okay.
You sign your part and the man signs.
Okay,
See,
perfect.
I would advise Nigerian tenants, ensure, including the landlords. Even some landlords make this mistake, because I've come across some landlords who have good causes, but the tenants know that, okay, this man does not know the law, and then they decide to ride on them. Now, make sure the man has expressly, in written words, told you have the right to renovate.
To your taste.
To your taste. But if there is no such thing, the man can say, after all, your tenancy agreement says for 1 year certain, subject to review or renewal upon agreement by the parties. So if after 1 year the man say, okay, subject to your agreement now, I don't agree, move out.
So all that thing you spent,
you have done the work of God.
Okay, but then let's talk about landlords. I'm telling you, serious work of God.
You have done the work of God. Oh, bless you.
Let's talk about landlords that just wake up one morning and decide to increase rent. And it's so rampant.
Especially this year.
My dear, my family have been a victim of that. One of the places where we lived, the man just woke up and after, like, I don't understand, after paying rent and they're like just.
And was it maintained?
The house was not maintained.
That's where we are coming from.
In fact, the borehole was faulty. Let me start from there. The borehole was faulty. The tenants came together, fixed it, but they now found out that, oh, that's not something the tenants can fix, because after a while it got faulty again, and then it required redigging deeper because the borehole, whatever, the whole explanation, they have to dig deeper. They have to buy a new whatever for us to be able to have water. And then the landlord said that's not his business. He's not the one living in the compound. So if the people living in the compound cannot come together and find a means of taking care of their source of water, then that's it. He did nothing. And then even when there was light issue, there was issue with the general transformer. Other people had other transformers, houses that have come up now. The landlords, some of the landlords, they bring some transformers for their tenants to enjoy. And then they're like, okay, you can tap light from, you can talk to this landlord, and then so we come together, you landlords come together and pay for the transformer so that your own tenants can also enjoy it. And it's like, no, if you want to do that at your own expense, but so why are we paying rent?
Why is it difficult for landlord to maintain their property?
So now in this case,
not all
really,
yes,
really,
not all, true. Some landlords.
So
right.
in this case, can you just tell us what exactly are landlords supposed to provide and maintain, and then what are tenants supposed to maintain?
Okay, so let's take it this way. There was a question you asked earlier about increasing rent.
Yes.
Now, somebody who has a house, also have a right to increase rent as the economic situation increases and improves and advances. So, but some states now have taken it to themselves to do, like Lagos State, I'll use for instance, they have a law called Rent Control and Recovery of Residential Premises Law.
Okay.
Yes, I think that law was made in 2011 or thereabout. So now, what did that? I think 1997, and then they have the Rent Control law of 2011. So, but that thing says standard rent should not be reviewed. It should be at least every 3 years.
Every 3 years
for Lagos State.
Okay.
For Lagos State.
Okay.
And then that at some point it said it should not exceed 20% of the standard rate prescribed. So that is for Lagos State. They have the rent control.
Okay.
There is a law in Lagos called Rent Control and Recovery of Residential Premises Law. But in FCT, what governs our law, our property, our tenancy is Recovery of Premises Act, Cap 544 laws of the Chapter 544 laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 1990. But it didn't say anything about rent review. And let us also bear in mind that in the tenancy agreement, most of us just sign tenancy agreements without looking at the content. Most times our tenancy agreement will say this tenancy is subject to review every year. Some people don't know.
Okay.
Check your tenancy agreement. Sometimes it will say this tenancy is subject to review and leave it at that. A brilliant lawyer will leave it at that.
So it's
subject to review,
open-ended.
it's open-ended. And you will sign. So, but if it's just a tenant, we are also not ready to pay lawyers. Yes, but that's the truth. We people don't want us to eat.
Una
hold
charges
on.
no dey,
No,
una
of
charges dey
course.
too much.
How
Wetin
we take care
happen?
of our families?
Person dey find money to pay rent, you
How
dey
we
find
take-
money to
me,
pay
I don't-
lawyer.
I won't pay rent.
Barrister Chief, leave that talk.
So now the question is, if you receive a tenancy agreement as a tenant, you should also run it by your lawyer. Let the lawyer read through it and advise you.
Very
Yes.
true.
Because whether you like it or not, I will speak English, I speak English, and then
Yes.
you read through it all this way. And because you are in a hurry to pay for that rent, you
Hurry to-
sign. And you have signed away your rights. So the person says this. In fact, there was one somebody brought to me to review. Maybe because it was a big property. They said this rent, what was that thing? If upon non-payment, default in payment, you shall be evicted within 7 days.
Wow.
And somebody was at the verge of signing. If not that the man called me, I looked, I said, "You don't sign this thing." Saying, I said, "Don't sign it." Though. How can they give you 7 days?
7 days, where will you move to?
So it was where we now had to adjust and adjust and adjust. So, well, because we refuse, every person in Nigeria is a lawyer. All of us assume this position of lawyers. We are not lawyers for just nothing. We went to school for 6 years, for crying out loud, for matters like this. So, it is embedded, it is hidden somewhere. There are hidden things about rent review. There is always something called rent review clause in every tenancy agreement.
Okay.
There's rent review clause. So when you are executing a tenancy agreement, before you execute, read through and run through the tenancy rent review clause and see what is that place stating. Some will say it is subject to review every 6 months. Some will say, depending on the nature of it, some will say it's subject to review every 6 years. Some will say every 3 years. Some will say it is subject to review.
And leave it there.
And leave it at that. I know lawyers, including myself, that's just subject to
Viewers, this is an eye-opening
Sincerely,
experience. Like, when was the
sincerely.
last time you reviewed, you viewed you read through your tenancy agreement? If you never do, go read that now before they
and you
will
know the
evict
truth
you.
is, if you sign once and you are renewing rent, that tenancy agreement,
It's
binding,
Yes,
yeah.
it's binding. Yes.
if you remain in that property for 10 years without executing a new tenancy agreement, that one you signed when you first entered is what is binding on you. If you go to court tomorrow, there was a tenancy agreement, yes, but signed in 2010, it is still subsisting.
The thing now is
So now,
okay.
that's on one part. Now, on the other part, what was the other thing you write?
What are the things landlords are supposed to provide
One.
and maintain?
As a tenant, let me start from there.
Okay.
The grasses around your house areas, the lawns, it is for you to keep it clean.
Agreed.
The sink in your kitchen got bad, you are calling landlord. I don't
No,
understand.
that's unreasonable. It's not the
Electricity
landlord that
bill,
uses it.
facility fee, all those ones are to be paid. Perhaps there is a debt inside the house. Maybe some places there are some patches on the walls. It is, as long as it is not major,
So
Okay.
minor.
it is yours. Minor repairs,
renovation.
it is yours. But take for instance, the roof is leaking. It is landlord's responsibility.
Okay.
Perhaps wind came and then part of the roof. It is his house.
Viewers, are you people hearing that?
It is his house. It is his.
Did you hear that?
One other
Okay.
some other person will differ from me. So okay, it is the tenant that was living. It is whose house it is. Is it? Those are major repairs.
Okay.
Because at some point it may require taking a number of sheets. So if I bear that cost, who repays me?
Whereas the house
You
is not
understand?
yours. Okay, yeah.
It is the landlord's responsibility.
Okay.
But other minor repairs, like someone called for we have a property firm, and then somebody calls in, okay, take for instance, person calls in, the what's it called now, our toilet is not flushing, and you're calling landlord. I don't understand.
No.
Nigerians to do. Nigerians
My
to
sister,
do.
we cannot kill ourselves.
The landlord calls me to ask the law, see what happened. I just laughed. I said, those are part of the responsibilities of the tenant. But take for instance, the seaway is full. The landlord should be able to come and over.
Hey, some landlords will tell you, na me use
But
am, na me full am.
Some now that one is also relative.
Okay.
If the neighbors within agree to contribute and dispose the seaway, that's fine. Else, if it is part of the tenancy agreement, again I go back there,
Hi.
that the landlord shall be the one to dispose the seaway. You can call him. Reason being, okay, reasonable man, so that we don't go and make any alteration on the seaway line or anything. He knows how it is constructed. But there must be an agreement. But some of these minor things, because it's unfortunate, every little thing, landlord will come and repaint your house. I don't
Okay,
understand.
so what about boreholes, source of water,
So it is the landlord's responsibility.
to do it?
If there's a collapse on the borehole, the landlord should come and take responsibility of that. It is his property.
Okay.
But not that the head of the GP tank went bad and people are calling landlord.
No. That's
All right, thank you.
that's bad. But
If there
then
is a major electrical issue, call the landlord so that you don't cause disaster in the premises as well. Now, again, I also tell tenants, even if you want to make an alteration make sure you run it by the landlord. Seek his, get his consent. Take for instance, you are installing solar in your house, a rented apartment, and you didn't inform the landlord. If there is a fire disaster, who bears the grunt?
Okay, so sometimes these landlords, I'm sorry to say, can be bad belly. You know what we say? Yeah, I want to install solar. They say no.
Now, in the tenancy agreement, there is a clause we include, which is the tenant has or reserves the right to make some improvements, subject to the consent of the landlord, and such consent not unreasonably withheld.
All this on English.
Yeah, clause. That's why I
think you must be careful to read these clauses and then apply them. Now, there was a scenario we had where the tenancy expired. The woman had made some improvements, and there was a written agreement for her to make some improvements in the house and all that. So the woman said, okay, convert the rate, and they agreed on the rate, how much to spend. The woman at some point spent more than that, but was already claiming for that particular amount, and told the man, okay, convert this figure I spent into my rent. The man refused. Came and then locked the woman's house and all. So the woman, and then also went to court to recover the premises. I just laughed. So by the time we got to court, I said, it's simple. The man had applied self-help. I told the woman, itemize all the things in your house. The woman was living in a hotel. Itemize the whole thing in your what's it called, in the apartment. The thing was getting to almost 10 million. So by the time we went to court, we won the case.
I pity the man.
It was self-help. The court told him, you applied self-help. Peradventure, her rent had actually expired. You know the right legal steps. So landlords, that rent expired does not mean you can involve police. Police is not rent recovery agent. Police is not the court.
So how should
the
they
right
go about
place
it?
to go is to institute of the Recovery of Premises Act states how to go about. You issue the statutory notices. There is a first, if it's a 6 months tenant, you give 6 months notice. If it's a quarterly tenant, you issue 3 months notice. If it's a monthly tenant, you issue 7 days notice. This is also subject to what is in the agreement. Some agreements, I told you some examples, may say 7 days. So depending, but if that part is not inclusive, then you're entitled to all the statutory notices. Some agreements will tell you entitled if you don't renew your rent within 7 days, you shall be evicted from the proper premises without issuing of any of the statutory notices, and you sign. You have given out that right of statutory notices.
Wow.
So it is very important for people to seek.
Yes, because I know where in the north, I grew up in the there was one drama. It was really funny. I think the landlord and the tenant had fallouts, and then the landlord just woke up and told the tenant, move, I'll pay you your balance.
You don't pay my
balance. No, that was it. Said I'll pay you, calculate how many months you've stayed, I'll pay you the balance of the remaining months, move. And then the tenant refused, and the tenant was a nursing student then. He refused. By the time she came back from school, the landlord had removed her roof. It was not funny. I remember that scenario. It was not funny. She almost ran mad. But guess what? She didn't get justice. She didn't get justice.
What did she do? What steps
she went to the police station.
I remember.
So where she's supposed to go to court?
Problem. You get a lawyer who will give you a proper advice.
It's the money. A lot of people.
It's the money. But
she went to the police station. There was no justice.
Some of us also do some of these cases pro bono, at least with advice. Even if you don't have money to pay for going to court, you pay for you come and I give you free advice.
Hi. I felt so bad for her. She was in ABU then. She was studying in nursing then.
They are fighting a landlord who owns a house.
Hi.
So what police will get people to go and settle because they know it is not within their jurisdiction.
Yeah, I know at the end
it's only Nigeria will take things that do not belong to a particular jurisdiction to a particular jurisdiction. Because I have a boyfriend in Nigeria, I can't bring him to fight for me. That is in Nigeria. Yeah. Follow the law. There is a procedure. That woman would have gotten damages, would have gotten justice, and would have gotten damages.
If she had gone
punitive damages.
If she had met a lawyer.
Yes. Go to court and then you claim damages. List all your things that got destroyed. I won't release all the gunpowder here now.
Viewers, I'm yet to see your comments. We are yet to hear your calls. I know you are watching out there, and I'm sure you must have shared the link because everybody needs to know this. Because, like he said, if you're not a landlord, you are a lawyer or what was that third one?
Or
a licensee.
A licensee. So which are you? But then whichever you are, you know this is very important. It might not be for you, it might be for someone close to you or your children or your loved ones. So feel free to call us and let's hear it.
Let me even say this. You rent a property and some tenancy agreements will say that you shall the tenant shall not sublet this
I was about coming to that. Yeah.
And you go to sublet. You have breached the terms of the tenancy agreement. With that one, you can be evicted immediately.
Okay, but what if it's not written in the tenancy agreement?
You can.
Okay.
If it's not, anything that is not written is assumed.
Okay.
It can be assumed in that way. It's left in the air.
Okay.
You understand? It's left in the air because it is neither here nor here. But when it is expressly written, you now go contrary to it. You have breached the terms of the tenancy agreement.
Okay, but then let's talk about, you know, all these things we're talking about. Those who can, let's be like Shewa said, it's not easy to afford a lawyer now. Now, in cases where, you know, let's be realistic. We have some landlords that support.
But you know
tenants.
that it's not easy to afford a lawyer. But what you did not pay a lawyer to do it, what you did not pay small money for a lawyer to do initially, you may pay him more to do later.
Can you see he has taken? But
that's the truth.
We are not in court now, but
I think our culture here, you know, we are still we still have to promote the awareness of allowing legal practitioners to do their job, because I find myself telling my mom this: how can you want to sell something that is not media and you don't want to inform a lawyer? And I'm like, they will collect their own money. I was like,
you know, my father pays a lawyer, not me. My father has a lawyer, not me. The lawyer had been there before I became qualified as a lawyer.
Okay.
So recently what he does is, okay, he runs it by me first and then he runs to his lawyer. And he pays the man. And I'm his son. He didn't retain me. I'm a lawyer, my wife is a lawyer. He didn't retain any of us. And then you want to be collecting.
He has already paid you.
The thing is, whether you like it or not, you didn't pay a lawyer at the time of purchase of the land. You are avoiding by the time Kasala boss, you pay a lawyer.
You pay a lawyer
to go to court.
Exactly. That is what a lot of Nigerians don't know, actually.
Beyond tenancy issue, you are going into a business. And you felt, there's an agreement. In fact, there was one agreement I saw, I was just laughing. The man went on Google, and then, Google, everybody can access Google.
Yeah, especially with AI now.
And copied some things, and then the other person saw it and smiled and signed quickly and collected his money. Millions. Kasala boss, they are calling me. Okay, was there an agreement? He said yes. Who prepared it? The man couldn't answer the question.
Oh goodness.
And I looked, there was no lawyer that franked the document. I kept on pressing. He not told him he saw a template on Google.
These are the issues.
But now he would have paid me less at that time, but now he's paying me more because I have to go to court. Is in my blood I used to court. So if you don't pay less at that, if you don't afford to pay at that time, you will still so these are little mistakes. The truth is that some people run from lawyers thinking lawyers are not so expensive.
It's not true.
Are not so expensive.
Are not so expensive.
Expensive.
So but it will save you the trauma of tomorrow.
Which is expensive.
Which is that one will be more expensive.
But I want us to look at a scenario where the landlord doesn't maintain his house. You have a lot of leakages. The tenants do all of that because they are the ones living in the house. He doesn't do all of this maintenance. What recourse would you give? What advice would you give these tenants on how to?
You are in a place and you have tried to talk to the landlord. The landlord has refused.
Especially when you can't have direct access to the landlord. You only you lawyers now. Is the lawyer you're talking to?
Do you know that?
Whether
agents, caretakers, managers, they fear lawyers letter paper. They fear lawyers letter paper.
Okay, I'm trying to point out a scenario. It is a lawyer who is,
and then you
managing the house.
Think he's not scared of another lawyer's letter paper.
Okay.
He feels you are intimidated with his personality as a lawyer.
Okay.
So, but when you confront him with a colleague, he knows that, oh man, this person knows
the battle
is for two of us now. So this person knows my excesses and knows where I have gone wrong. And you meet a law, you don't take the law into your hand, or you don't keep quiet. That's the problem I have in Nigeria. You just keep quiet at all. And then as Christians are worse, so trust God. God help us.
It is
Your house they soak water.
My challenge with some of these things is that
God will fight for me.
What you keep quiet will affect every other person. If that person does it and gets away with you, another person comes and gets away with it. Call a lawyer. Go to his office. Look at the situation. The lawyer writes a letter to whoever is managing their property, even if it is a lawyer.
Okay.
By the time the lawyer sees that a colleague is involved, the person will make adjustments. The next thing, let's meet and see how we can resolve this issue. It's not a big deal between beyond us. I've had scenarios like that. It's not a big deal. It won't take me any time. I just put my laptop and then put my head to work. Put one or two English together. and be able to communicate it well, the man will know that, look, there is problem. Tenant they carry landlord go court.
And they win.
And they win.
Okay.
Landlord they carry tenant go court, tenant go still win.
But if two of them go court, one person must win.
One person must win. It's either this or that way, depending on the facts of the case.
Well, this is quite interesting and
Sincerely.
eye-opening. Well, viewers, if you have any question for Barrister James, please feel free to send it. You can call. I've been saying it. You can call and ask your questions, or you can send us your comments. Send your questions. If you have had any experience, good or bad, please send. Barrister James is here. He's not going anywhere until we release him. So send your questions. We want to read them. Send your comments. We also want to read them. Okay, so Barrister James, let me still ask. In this case of landlords and tenants, there are sometimes, let's be realistic. It's not every landlord that gives out this tenancy agreement, and
Yes.
some tenants don't, especially where we find ourselves. You understand? Now, unfortunately, some tenants end up living in the same compound with their landlords. He's already smiling. That one, your wife fried chicken. Now war. You don't pay rent
chicken for that back.
Exactly. Your wife fried chicken. Now war. Your pikin run with bicycle. Now war. You play music. Landlord will tell you you're disturbing him. I don't understand. Is it now a crime for a landlord and his tenants to live in the same?
Because the tenant does not know his or her right. Right to peaceful enjoyment of the demised property.
Okay.
You have, once you pay rent, you have a right to peaceful enjoyment of that property. Peaceful enjoyment.
So the landlord cannot stop you
Now,
from playing music.
there are also
for your
areas
wife.
of excesses. In some agreements, they will tell you, because of the neighborhood, no loud music, because you also will not do your own to affect another person.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't know people living around there. Some go as far as saying no keeping of pets.
Okay.
There are some areas, yes, there are some agreements that bear that. No keeping, depending on the location and the nature. You go to VI and then you got carrying loud music and loud speaker be putting. Well, I don't understand. This is for same people. So some tenancy agreements include those things. No keeping of pets, no parking of more than 2 cars.
Can you imagine?
Yes, you see this. So that is why it is important you read through before you go in, because every area has their own specifications. No party.
Yes.
Yeah, I've seen that one. No party.
So these are terms stipulated in tenancy agreements. So, but people don't read, and then you challenge the man. The man points you to it.
So, but I'm
We
talking
have a
about a
bad
case
reading
where you
habit.
don't even have the paper written, and then the
Now,
landlord
People
that's
demand for it.
Now, what I'm saying is, for every property you are renting, even if it is 2,000 naira you are paying, make sure there is an agreement.
Okay. Even if they don't give to you, request for
Yes.
it. Viewers, did you
Even
hear
if
that?
it is 1-page agreement, let there be covering something. It's a contract.
It's a contract.
It's a contract. It's tenancy contract.
Okay.
So let that be something, because now there is an offer. The offer is, my house is out for let, and then there's an acceptance by the tenant. I accept to live in your property. Offer and acceptance. Then there's a consideration, which is the rent. It is already a valid contract, tenancy contract. So how can you execute a contract can you say I have purchased a car
Without the
the
papers.
paper?
Just
You
like
have a
marriage. Can you say you've married a woman without
bride price.
bride price
And-
or
marriage certificate.
binding?
Shaiwa, go nyanya maraba, use that plenty. Landlord will tell you your wife is frying chicken.
Collect at
Are
least
they
one
curry?
paper agreement.
Are they curry to
So
stew?
you have a right. So, but it's because we don't exercise. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't even want to know, because we think going to that lawyer, he will charge me money.
Yes.
But
That's the
sometimes, as much as I agree with you, I think sometimes what Nigerians usually feel, some
Do you
Nigerians
know what I
feel
will
is
charge?
because
Do you know what I will charge a tenant or a client whose rent is 5 million? Is not what I will charge a client whose rent is 20,000.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. The awareness. A lot
At
of
such
Nigerians
point,
Yeah, the
once such a
awareness.
person comes,
The
Yeah.
awareness.
you advise the person, do the thing for the person, and say, go. I've done that a lot, because I'm
The
not making money
awareness.
from you. I'm not my target.
No, can you see now? This is coming to light now, but a whole lot of
And a
people
whole
don't
number
know
of
that.
number of legal practitioners are like this. I speak from experience. At least I'm over 14 years at the bar.
Wow,
I speak from experience. A whole lot of lawyers are like this.
but people don't
Because
know.
most times, is it your 20,000 naira that? So your rent is 20,000. How much would I charge you? So, but I charge you 10,000 or 5,000 naira from your rent of 20,000 naira. So I just advise you do it before you go. So the person who can pay me, who knows my worth, I'll collect the money from.
Information is key.
So
I'm telling you.
in our
Information is
profession,
key.
we are trained to do pro bono services. Sometimes we go to court on pro bono because this person cannot afford. I tell the person, okay, don't pay my professional fee, only pay my transport to court.
That's a good one. Nigerians, are you
So
hearing
most
that?
lawyers do this. So don't be
It's a
scared of
good one.
approaching lawyers.
Okay.
You have them in your churches, you have them in your mosques, you have them in your offices, you have them in your environment, you have them as neighbor. Everyone you come and you read them the law, yet they're dying in silence. Cry out. The man may not even have written paper for you. It's just an advice. Okay, do this. There are instances like that where people block me. When people got to know in my estate that I'm a lawyer, somebody calls you see at night, somebody sent you a WhatsApp and the law after this thing. You just advise the person on WhatsApp and get
move.
out. But when they start abusing it, you stop talking.
Agreed. No,
Because
but this is
Nigerians
really,
can
this is
abuse
really
the
eye-opening.
So
kindness.
just
kindness.
meet a lawyer.
Eye-opening.
Don't be scared. We are all Nigerians and we are all friends. A lawyer is your friend, not like the police is your friend. But you go pay small money.
Okay, Shewa, I don't know if you have any question for Barrister Chiz. I think I've exhausted my questions for him, and then I don't know if our viewers out
And then
there.
again, don't assume the landlord understands. Rent expired. You kept quiet. And all of us, the Nigerian, and landlord supposed to understand. It is wrong.
As per your brother.
It is wrong.
Okay.
If rent is due, and every rent expires on the eve of the anniversary. So rent is due. The money is not there. There's nothing that stops you from calling him, please. I am unable to pay tomorrow. Give me
some time.
another 1 month.
Okay.
There have been instances like that.
The same thing to
A
do.
client calls me, okay, this is what this time. I say, he said 1 month. Just tell him to write it on paper and send. So I can have something to hold on to. So that I have issues with verbal communication because you can deny.
You can deny, yeah.
Yeah, we're a lawyer.
I
So
told you just tell him to send it as a text. Or write it on paper, snap and send to you, sign. With that, you have something to hold on to. So that if you are calling him by 30th of November, say record that in our conversation, you send this correspondence that you pay. So, but it's disrespectful. And that's what pushed most landlords to. Some landlords are not wicked, but tenants have made them wicked.
oh God.
True.
Have
I
you
agree.
have you
I
met
took- I
Nigerians?
took 9 tenants to court. 9 in a particular mini estate. All of them were owing for 3 years.
Well, was that intentional? Possibly the landlord did
one
something.
Person, no, one person did not pay. A landlord said, okay, when you have, be paying small.
Oh.
And he, of course, Nigerians.
That
He
is
took the news to the media.
bad.
All those who have started 3 years. The man saw Pepe.
That is bad.
It was
Very
at that point
bad.
he had to hand over the property to somebody to manage for him. Say he can't deal again. Person
goodness.
came and was able to recover everything. And funny enough, the same tenants are still in that estate, and all of them are paying us and when due.
Can you imagine? So that was actually a
So
deliberate
it
act,
was
and that's
a-
wicked.
It
So
is.
some tenants are wicked. So such a landlord now, if he brings up stringent measures, we do blame him.
Not at all. Not at all.
So as it is on this side, so it is on this side. So it is on this side.
But is it normal? Is it right for a landlord to send you a message, a letter saying, okay, your rent is due in 6 months. If after 6 months I don't receive your rent, consider this as
As a quit notice.
a quit notice. Is
He has
right?
served the quit notice now.
Is that
He has served the quit notice. He's giving you a reminder of the quit notice.
at the same time?
Even what they do is, what happens is, assuming the rent is to be reviewed, the man writes you and said, okay, by October next year, okay, take for instance March, think March, November, December, January, February, March, April. By April 30th, the rent will now be 1.5 million. Please kindly take notice that this is the new rent. If you will not renew, kindly see this as quick notice. The man has given you ample notice.
Now, wow.
What is ample notice? It's 6 months notice. He has given you 6 months notice.
Ahead.
That, look, I am reviewing, and the man has tried. He told you 6 months ahead. So within that 6 months, you have a right to either look for a new location, a new property, or gather the money
And pay.
and pay.
So
And-
what if
I've
you
seen
can't do any of
Nigerians
them?
deliberately saying is after their rent.
No.
That you can give that notice.
That is when their own 6 months
It's not
will
true.
start
Exactly.
counting.
But you know what Nigerians don't even know is that there is something called mean profit. Now, if for instance your rent has expired, all right, and you are still in that premises, and I took you to court to recover the premises. Within the period you are in court, I'll calculate my main profit. That is the rent daily for the period you are there. And the court will still, you still pay. The court will tell you to pay it. So some feel when they go to court, that is the end. When you go to court, your rent is still counting. So I don't understand. You rob Peter to pay Paul.
Wow.
The man will not suffer now. He has made investments. He should reap it. So there's something called mean profit. MENSE. MENSE. Yeah, Nigerians can read it up. So it is the cost of the rent for the period the matter is undergoing litigation. So if, for instance, I give you quick notice, 6 months, it expires, I give you 7 days.
So after 6 months is 7 days, after not 3 months?
No, after 6 days, which 3 months? 6 months notice to quit. After that, the next is 7 days notice of owner's intention to recover premises. So within 7 days, I'll take over my premises.
By force?
By force.
Okay.
I'll give you not by force, so not by calling police, by going to court.
Okay.
So if I go to court now, I am asking for court, 1, recovery of the premises, 2, if you are owing rent, the rent of so and so, and then 3, main profit for the period of litigation.
Now, wow.
So if the matter lasts for 2 years, and you're still in that property, at the time they're giving judgment, they are recovering my premises and they are giving me judgment. They are calculating your rent for the 2 years. If it is 6 months, they'll calculate it. Assuming your rent is 1,000 naira, they divide it by 6 months, and you still pay. So nothing say you will stay in that house free. Why the matter is in court. So, and before they finish for court, I don't get house moved.
I'm gonna run.
Well, with all this that have been said today, because as landlords are faulty, so as tenants are.
It's both ways.
It's both ways. So now, what are your last words for both landlords, tenants, and Nigeria as a whole?
All right, for Nigerians, make sure for every of your tenancy issues, get a document backing it. Make sure there's something in writing. Either a tenancy agreement, even if it's 1 page. If the person cannot afford a lawyer, let him write something for you so you're sure you have something. If the person cannot afford a lawyer, you can. Nothing stops you from going to get that tenancy agreement for your own protection. For your own protection. The man reads and he accepts, you move. Then for landlords, please take it easy on the tenants. Make sure you keep to your own sides of the covenant. And for the tenants, make sure you keep your own sides of the covenant. Nobody should go on the excess, and never resort to self-help, both for the tenant and for the landlords. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Guys, I feel like giving you a round of applause,
All right.
I've never seen barrister chiefs like this. Like I'm imagining what he's going to be like in court.
It's when you are doing the profession that you love.
All the way you used to come there, he would do like this.
You did not see.
Like a very, I've never seen him.
I'm very calm. I
never said you're not calm.
It's just Nigeria issues.
All right, dear.
Okay, viewers, thank you very much for staying with us. My last words to you, both as a landlord or as a tenant, do the right thing. Listen, somebody said, "Karma, no, they work. They work." Sure. If as a tenant you treat your landlord badly, remember you one day be a landlord. It will come back to you. Very if as a landlord you treat your tenant badly, don't think you have all the money in the world. Somehow karma will find a way of getting it back to you. So it doesn't cost anything to be nice. So treat people nicely. Bye.
All right, so there you have it. I don't know if this has been an educative period for me. Like, I've learned a lot, and I've penned down a lot of things. I hope our viewers at home or at work have done that too. All right, so till we come your way, same time, same station tomorrow, please to have a lovely day.